All right, guys, we're continuing with our exponential functions. Today we're going to talk about evaluating. So I have my calculator open. It's going to be fantastic. Here we go. Some guides for this. This is in your notes. We read the problem. We're going to create the equation. We want to make sure we know what x and y represent. Then we're going to substitute based on what the question is asking us, and then we solve. You can either graph it, because I love graphing because you can create the table and you can find all kinds of answers, or we can use end solve. So we're going to look at both of those, and then you can kind of pick and choose what's going to work best in your life, make you happy. Here we go. Okay, so first example, you pay off half of your $5,000 loan every year. So I pay off, okay, so that's half every year of my $5,000 loans. There's my A value. All right, so my equation is going to be y equals the initial, so 5,000, times my growth rate, so I'm paying off half of it, and then to the x power. There's my equation. Sweet. All right, question says, how much will you owe after 3 years? Okay, so the question is this x or y? Remember, we talked about x is always our time, y is always our total. So we want our x value to be 3. So I'm going to write my equation with that substituted in. So this is y equals 5,000 times 0.5 to the third power, because I want 3 years. Okay, so we're going to look, how would I solve that? So if I come over to my calculator now, I could graph it, and it's a function. If it's y, that's a function. So I'm going to leave it f of x. I'm not typing y again. I'm going to leave it f of x, right? And now I'm going to start typing that equation. So if I do 5,000 times parentheses 0.5, and then to the x, so here's my exponent right there. And I'm going to graph the equation first. Okay, we'll deal with that third power right there, but I'm just going to graph the original when I graph. Okay, so now I see that it's over here somewhere. Right now I'm not looking at my graph. I want to Control T to create a table, right? And so it said third year, so if I go down in my table, I'm looking at my x values are 3, and what is the y value. So I'm saying that in 3 years, I will owe $625. Okay, and so that's how I could use my graph and find. If I go and open a calculator page, I could also end solve, and let's see if we get to the same place. So remember, it's algebra, numeric solve, right? I'm going to type this equation this time, okay? So y equals 5,000 times 0.5, and this time it's to the third because I'm writing the substituted in. Remember that end solve only works with one variable, unknown. So y is unknown, so I'm going to do comma y, and then I'm going to hit enter. Hey, 625, that matched what I got. Okay, so those are the two different ways that you can do this. All right, so let's look at the second part of this question. So I know after 3 years I owe $625. After how many years will you owe $156.25? So now we're looking, this tells me my total. So now this is a y value, right? Because I'm looking for x. So I need my y. So that tells me that I would put the 156.25 where y is, substitute it out, and that will equal 5,000 times 0.5 to something. Okay, so two ways. Since I'm on my calculator screen, I can end solve again. So menu, algebra, numeric solve, and I can type in this equation, the 156. So 156.25 equals 5,000 times 0.5 to the x power. This time x is my unknown, arrow out. So I do comma x, and I hit enter, and it says 5. So I'm saying that it should be 5 years is when I'll owe $156. If I go back over to my table, I can just keep arrowing down till I'm in my Y value looking for 156.25, right? So if I arrow down, whoop, let me go back up. Hey, there it is. It matches with the 5 years. Okay, so 2 ways to find it. Cool. Let's look at another one. All right, in a scientific study, scientists discovered that a certain bacteria doubles every hour. They began the study with 10 samples. All right, so doubles, so times 2, right? And they began with 10 samples, so that's my A value. So Y equals the initial, so I started with 10, times my rate, I'm doubling, so times 2 to the X power. How many bacteria will there be after 4 hours? Hours is my time, so this is saying X value, so we're going to substitute in. So Y equals 10 times 2 to the 4th power. And now let's go and find it. So if I come to my calculator, notice I have this. I'm going to Control T, and then I'm going to triple hit delete so I can start fresh and hit tab, and let's graph this. So I have 10, but I'm going to graph the original, so 2, and then up arrow to the X power. I hit enter. Okay, I see my graph. Let's Control T to get the table. And I want 4 hours, so I look in my X column for 4, takes me to 160. So I'm saying that there should be 160 bacteria, right? And again, I could do that in my calculator. If I go menu, algebra, numeric solve, if I type in this one, so I do Y equals 10 times 2 and to the 4th power, arrow out of that, do comma Y, hit enter, 160, woohoo, it matches. Okay, so that's what we're doing. Let's look at the second question. How many hours will it take to get 5,242,880 bacteria? Okay, so this is our total now. So I would substitute that huge number, 5,242,880 for Y equals 10 times 2, and I don't know my time. Okay, so again, either way that you look at it, so menu, algebra, numeric solve, and I type, I have 5,242,880. You don't need the commas in there. Okay, equals 10 times 2 to the X, arrow out, and then comma, and X is my unknown this time. So it says 19. Okay, so it should be 19 hours. Label everything. Don't have naked numbers, okay? And again, I could go and look for that number in my table. It might take me a little while, right? So if I go, maybe if my, and I would keep looking, and there I go, I'm at 19. Woohoo! Okay, so that's how you do it. Let's look at 2 more. I'm just going to choose one of the ways this time. Here we go. You deposited $500 into your account. So this is where I'm at. It earns 5%. Okay, so that's an increase annually. All right, wait, I have a percent. Remember, we just learned that percents, you have to change it. It's earning, so that's an increase, so I add to 100. So I'm at 105%, and then change it to your B value. So it should be 1.05. All right, remember to convert if it's a percent. So Y equals my initial 500 times my growth factor, so 1.05 to the X power. All right, how much money will I have after 6 years? Years is my time. So if I substitute in, this would look like 500 times 1.05 to the, sorry, X is 6 though, so I put 6 there. All right, so let's go, let's end solve it. So menu, algebra, numeric solve, and I'm going to type in y equals 500 times 1.05 to the 6th power, arrow out, comma, y is what I don't know. Okay, so it says I will have, and we're going to round that value, 670.05 cents after 6 years is what I will have, okay? And then the second question says, how many years will it take to have $1,462.63? So again, I'm going to have this amount equals 500 times my rate, and I don't know how many years this time, right? So again, if I do menu, algebra, numeric solve, and I type in this equation right here, so 1462.63 equals 500 times 1.05 to the x power, arrow out of the exponent, comma, x is what I don't know, enter. So it says 22 years for me to get to 1,000. So that's a long time to get to that value right there. Okay, so that's what we're doing. Let's look one more together. A bug spray kills 25% of the mosquitoes each time. So this is a decrease and it's a percent. So I'm going to have to change that. In a given area, there's 3 million mosquitoes. So that's my starting point. All right, let's see. My decrease, 100 minus 25 is going to be 75%. Move that decimal twice, so B is 0.75. So my equation, y equals the initial, so 3 million, whoo, big numbers, times 0.75 is my rate to the x power. How many mosquitoes remain after 15 sprays? So 15 sprays, that's my time, right? That's what I'm doing. All right, so this would be y equals 3 million times 0.75 to the 15th. And then we can go and solve that on our calculator. This time, let's do our graph, right? So I'm going to clear out what I had. I'm going to type in my new equation. So it's 3 million, right, times 0.75 to the x power. I don't see my graph, but I want my table, Control T. I'm looking for 15. So I'm going to just click, 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 click. Hey, 15. All right, so I should be at, we're going to have about 40,090 mosquitoes left. Okay, so that's if we did that. And then it says, how many sprays will it take to have 401 mosquitoes left? So I'm looking for x now. So 401 is what I want left. Should equal 3 million times 0.75 to the x power. All right, if I'm using my table this time, so I'm just looking for this y value to be 401. So we're going to keep going, click, 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 getting close. Ooh, 401. So about, I'm going to look at the next one, that's too small, so 31 sprays will drop us to 401 mosquitoes. And that's what you do. So now it's your turn. Try it out.